Moving on, ARM Holdings getting added to the Nasdaq 100 today. The British semiconductor company will also be incorporated in several other Nasdaq indexes. Shares of ARM up nearly 140% since its public debut back in September. Rene Haas, ARM Holdings CEO, joining us now. Rene, it is good to see you, and maybe start on that news, Rene. I'm just interested how you think about it. What does it mean for ARM to be included like this? Do you see it, Rene, as maybe a kind of milestone for the company? What are you telling your team?
Well, thanks for having me. It's certainly a milestone. It's something we're proud of. The Nasdaq 100, that's an elite company. So for ARM to be included on it, it's a very, very cool day. The employees and company are excited.
And so as you have this day and you're excited, I am curious because there's been so much talk lately, Rene, about retail investors, right? We've seen some glimmers again in the market of the meme stock trade. I think Tesla is a part of this phenomenon as well with its retail shareholder participation in its recent vote, for example. So how are you thinking about that cohort of people who are interested in potentially owning ARM Holdings stock?
Honestly, I don't think about it that much. My focus is really on the strategy, trying to grow the company. One of the things I love most about my job is that I'm usually having discussions about technology in 2026, 2027, 2028. Thinking about the question you just asked, I understand the question, but it's actually not where I spend a lot of my focus.
Fair.
Rene, let's talk about one area I'm guessing is a focus for you, which is the mega trend of AI. Rene, we spend so much time on this show, of course, talking about it. Investors are very excited, and I know, Rene, you would argue, I'm sure, I think, in fact, the last time we spoke, Rene, you said, basically you can't run AI without a CPU. Can you just walk us through, Rene, how you think about the opportunity for ARM here? How big is the opportunity when we talk about this mega trend of AI? How do you quantify it, Rene?
Yeah, I think that, and I was around, during the dot-com era. In fact, to me, dot-com kind of started even in the late 90s with the browser and then the build out of the internet. To me, this is much more profound because what AI is going to do is that it is going to really, really change people's lives in terms of productivity, whether that's call centers that can become 100% automated, healthcare, bioresearch, where you can cut the research of a cancer drug from 10 years to 5 years to 3 years. This is all going to be capable with AI. And then every device that we use, the data center, the automobile, your PC, your smartphone, they all need to run AI. There's no quibble around that. And since 70% of the world's devices today use ARM, and they have to use AI on top of the ARM-based platform already, it's just natural that we're going to be involved in it. So it's something we spend a lot of time on, but I don't think it's hyped at all. I think it is going to be something that when we look back in terms of what the capabilities are and what it unleashes, it's going to be a momentous time in history.
Well, Rene, it's so interesting, the relationship between AI and ARM, because I got to tell you, coming up to the drumbeat of your IPO last September, when there was a lot of talk about AI, we were talking to a lot of analysts who were saying AI is not really the story for ARM yet, that it's still early. And so it seems, though, that you have been gaining a little steam in that area. So can you tell our listeners and viewers right now kind of where you are for ARM in that cycle?
Yeah, I thank you for the question. I think respectfully, the analysts maybe didn't quite understand or have an appreciation at the pace at which things were moving. There was a belief that AI meant you're running a large language model in the data center. But if you look 9 months later, we have an AI PC. We have ChatGPT 4o running on a mobile phone doing voice recognition, which is being done in conjunction with the cloud and the local device. You have Gemini, an AI tool that runs on your cell phone. Nobody was talking about those things a year ago. And to be fair, it's not because the analysts didn't understand it. It's just the pace that this is how this is moving. And by definition, because of all the investments taking place in terms of training, all that training needs to find its way into applications. And most of those applications will be in your handheld devices or your consumer devices. So I think even the analysts probably didn't have a sense of just how fast things are going. And one of the things we like to talk about is that software is moving far faster than the hardware. So I think that's the key learning that we've seen, and perhaps the analysts as well.
And Rene, let's talk smartphones as well. I'm going to just get your take because we've had analysts come on the show, Rene, and say, listen, they think AI is going to prove to be a real tailwind for the smartphone market, at least the premium segment. Is that how you see it, Rene? What would that mean for ARM?
I think it will be a tailwind. Remember that these smartphones iterate every single year, and they add new and new technology, which puts a lot of strain on the system in terms of battery, performance, heat. Now, when you have to run AI applications, in addition to all the applications you were running before, that's a complex design problem. It's also a problem that ARM is very, very good at solving. And since most of these devices are already ARM-based and the software runs on ARM, it's pretty natural that we're going to be in the center of all of that. So we're pretty excited about the tailwind, not just for phones, but for AI PCs, automobiles, consumer devices. I think all of them are going to see a tailwind in the next number of years.
Rene, it seems as though when you talk about the speed at which things are moving, that the speed has maybe moved a little bit more on the enterprise side, where we've seen an enormous amount of demand. On the consumer side, perhaps less so. And so I'm curious to get your take, because you're so enmeshed with this. What sort of the killer app on the consumer side could potentially be for AI, or the killer use case?
Yeah, I don't think we know yet is the honest answer. If you think about the move from 3G to 4G, a number of years ago, no one could tell you that the killer app was going to be, I now can order a car on demand, it'll know where I'm standing. Or I can now get a rental property at a very, very low discount, and I can find them all very quickly. But that's Airbnb and Uber. Those apps were unlatched with 4G. Now, when we think about AI at the consumer, I think first off, we need to get the hardware capable, which is happening, and then the apps will follow. But history has kind of shown that that's how the model tends to work. So I don't know that the killer app is out there yet, but I'm also very confident that it will be very soon.
Rene, it is always great to have you on Yahoo Finance. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.